TD Bank recently released a report saying that Canadian house prices could fall up to 25%. And this report has been making its way through news and online media outlets. But I think there's a major point that you should know that's not getting highlighted by the articles that are circulating around. But before I jump into that, my name is Jessie McLellan and I'm a realtor here in the Durham Region, and I make videos about our local real estate market and the Canadian real estate market. So if you'd like to stay up to date, please hit the subscribe button. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because it helps it reach more people like you. Also, leave a comment and let me know what you think will happen to home prices in the first quarter of 2023, and let me know where you are because each market is different and I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. So many of these articles referencing the report that TD put out are making their way around social media and news outlets. Let's quickly read through one of these articles and then we'll talk about what's not being mentioned from the report. A new bearish report from TD Bank forecasts that the average home price across Canada will decline between 20 and 25% by the first quarter of next year, so 2023. The report comes as home prices already show signs of decreasing as borrowing costs rise in tandem with interest rates. TD Bank's forecasted price drop would represent an unprecedented decline going back to the late 1980s when the data first started being tracked. However, TD says that the worst possible outcome for home prices will likely be avoided because of several factors that will help underpin demand and prices, such as growing incomes, increased household savings, and low inventories in both new and resale housing markets. TD Bank also forecasts that the number of home sales in Canada will fall by 35% by the first quarter of 2023. There are a couple important things to note that most articles overlooked about the report. In the actual report from TD, it says Canadian average home prices could fall 20 to 25% on a peak to trough basis from the first quarter of 2022 to the first quarter of 2023. So basically they're saying that the average Canadian home price could drop between 20 and 25% from the peak of the market by the first quarter of 2023. They are not saying that prices will drop 25% from right now prices. And I think that that's where a lot of people are being misled or are misunderstanding what the report was actually talking about. From the peak of the market in February to July, the average price of a Canadian home has already dropped 22.9%. So we're already seeing that drop of 20 to 25% from the peak of the market. And these declines will vary from market to market. For example, in my service area of Durham Region, we've already experienced a 26.6% decline from the peak of the market. And with another upcoming interest rate increase expected on September 7th with the next announcement, it's likely we will see the market slow down even further. So TD's latest report might actually be a touch optimistic because we've already seen that forecasted drop. It's also important for you to know that this report is an updated report from the one they released in June earlier this year. In the June report, TD predicted a 33% drop in the number of transactions and a 19% drop in the average Canadian home sale price. And what's interesting about that is at the time that report was released, the average Canadian home price had already dropped 18.5% from the peak. So TD isn't forecasting anything that's out of this world, they're just updating their reports as the market changes. Another notable change between the June report and the latest August report from TD is that in June they were predicting the overnight rate to hit 3.25% by the fourth quarter of 2022. But now in August, they've removed that prediction and they haven't mentioned a specific number, but they have indicated that they expect the Bank of Canada to pause its hiking campaign or at the very least move in much smaller increments. I'll have a separate video on the upcoming rate announcement from the Bank of Canada, but I did just want to mention the differences in the TD reports. Also, in the latest TD report, it isn't predicting a full-on real estate market crash, but what they consider to be a recalibration. And much of their reasoning behind that is because they believe the rate increases will slow down after September's announcement. And because of the mortgage qualification stress test in Canada, which requires buyers to qualify at a higher rate than the one that they'll have to make sure that they'll be able to afford payments if their rate is increased. If TD is correct and we see the Bank of Canada pause or slow down their rate hikes, I think it's very possible that we see prices level out and stay flat for a period of time. but I believe much of what will happen with prices will be determined by what happens with the interest rates going forward. I know this was a quick video, but I really just wanted to clear that up. I think honesty and transparency in the real estate industry is so important. And whether you're a homeowner who is worried or a buyer who's hoping for more affordability, it's so important to understand where the market is and what's currently happening. If you have any questions for me, there is a link in the description where you can book a buyer consultation, a seller consultation, or just book a call with me to chat and have some of your questions answered. I hope you found this video helpful. Again, let me know what your predictions are, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.